le loss juba jigi deshin ning musmi to taw khan yo mar tel ngwen zen go yo res 다 대신 닝보 여러스 데 찍기데 북데 예반다 부지 한테 지 마인 봐 단다 단데 남도 되게 레 로스 줘 봐지 남도 코랑 ngoole 로스 줘 봐지 가야 요 말이스 로브르 추도 그 딥스드 추베 그 똑바 그 딥스드 똑바레 로스 줘 봐지 대시 보스
Up till now we have talked to some extent about how all beings without exception are endowed with Buddha nature. And based on whether we are addressing Buddha nature from the point of view of ground or path or fruition, or from the point of view of the attributes or the characteristic of Buddha nature, it is known by many different names. Sometimes Buddha nature is referred to as Tamal Gisheba or ordinary mind, sometimes referred to as Chögying, all-pervasive space, or Dharma Dhatu, and sometimes Prajna Paramita, or the perfection of wisdom. And so it's known by different names, or from the tantric point of view, great bliss, a great joy. And so it is known by those various different names, and yet all the name essentially meaning same, pointing out the same meaning. And Buddha nature, again, when we talk about Buddha nature, when we talk about all these different names, or what we mean by all these different names, is not something that is hidden somewhere inside of us. Essentially, it is no other than the nature of thought. In a matter of moment, from moment to moment, we have conceptual thinking, labeling. And it is not anything separate or outside of moment to moment thoughts or thinking. And it is not outside of the nature of thought.
Bena ngaranzo chakje chimbyuki tandati gyubek sonde nar sungba teran res. Namdo ngo chugo sungba shins de. Number tobe ngo ti chugo yins. Tene jian ma yin jian chawa la mangar roba chawe gomjen la konde yeme dobar sinji lop sungur. Namdo korangi ngo ti tene chugo re te sonza yindu te sonza namdo korangi ngo te la bena 줌탈라 소베게 가야 sobju 마제바 티 코랑게 나라 테네 랑바블라 쇼 랑살라 쇼 남도 코랑 마제베게 나라 냠브샤 샤바데다 하나도 착제 첨부도 족바 첨부나 양의 양도 랑밥을 쇼 세야지 간송거 열었으나 남도 코랑 그 마주베게티 최고래 근데 저타도 근데 넘버 또 누구 열었어 대 손자 각접 지야마 제바 랑밥을 줘 해야 돼 된다 되레스
So, as such, in accordance with the Mahamudra tradition of practice, in the Mahamudra lineage supplication also, it said that nature of thought is Dharmakaya. Nature of thought is Dharmakaya. And because of the nature of thought, Dharmakaya, arising of anything and everything is possible. And resting in the nature of thought is experiencing the nature of mind. So both in Mahamudra tradition as well as in Mahati tradition, emphasis is all the time in the instruction, practice. Rest in the nature of mind. Rest in the nature of thought. Which is to say, not the nature of thought, not get further conditioned by string of conceptual thinking, conceptualization.
This is the yingba meba.
And which means rest in the nature of mind or undistracted awareness.
This re tene tesonza tene te indu tene dumsen tela tene bete kasewore tene jesu mandawaje tene ka kya tene number to pa res ne makaba tene khorang ke tengdola tene kasewore ningdola rangbabla nyambar jo thuba te khorang la ane 다 대식 닝부 그가는 대식 닝부 그올 tene pena ngosh pena ngo tokparche senaya khan senaya tele los chubachike 다대 그 남도한테 랑법된도 시작발에 los chubachike 대신 닝보티 투 ngon도 줄여야 가야요 말이에요. 하고야. 남도한테 다단데 제스 만나스라 그러봐. 가자 마가바 쟤네 남도 레 출바 레스네 마가바 쟤네 남도 코랑 ngo 내루 칸이 바 땡돌라 랑법 순족 바텔라 디스게 요레 디 인두 디손자 다 텔레 다 다는 게 컨트롤 세야 더버드 가스게 요서나 다 나란 저기 직tum내반더버 지다 다 대신님부터 뭐 마시에 대 드베 드립직 요르스게 요르바 디고 마시에 발되는 추부 요르스리 디세 온두 다 남도게 드네 독스티비언스리 다 텔레 로스 주베 남도 코랑 ngoole 로스 주베지 그 대화식 빈닝부지 토간로나 한 얘기 좀 해보자 봐. 가연 얘기 좀 해보자. 대손자 근데 배나 딕하고 가야 돼. 개침으로 샘세나야를 대신 인부스나 가세나 메스나 딕코라는 건 이제 그거요. 배나 감성의 시에인데 만나만데 되게 된다는 것만 되레스다.
Resting in the nature of thought or undistracted awareness, meaning neither following thoughts and entertaining one's mind by following thoughts, distractions. One doesn't have to thus feed, nor does one have to look at thought negatively. And when thought arises, looking at it as if that this is
남도의 출발 이내 텔레 로스 교바지게 대화식 빈닝부지 되네 소나 Tiang Shembares.
Looking at it, at thought as obstacles, as confusion. Confusion or obstacle that prevents one from recognizing Buddha nature and therefore obstructing, suppressing. And so in this way, neither suppressing of thoughts because giving these kind of reasons one think, because thought is an obstacle, it is confusion, and so therefore when thought arises, trying to obstruct or suppress. When we talk about, for instance, our mind is obscured by conceptual patterns, it is not saying that thought is wrong. It is so if you look at, therefore, thinking that thought is wrong, thought is negative, and thought is what hinders one from recognizing nature of one's mind, then that would be misleading. Not seeing the nature of thought as it is the confusion, not the thought itself. So, neither suppressing nor feeding, entertaining, looking at the nature of thought is another way of saying looking at the nature of mind. And looking at the nature of mind is then seeing Buddha nature, or, and then one is then beginning to address the possibility of recognizing Buddha nature appropriately.
Tendes res. Tendes indu tesonza tetabuki ani tetabuki tandati pena dewarshik beningboam tenes takasore tamarji shebasena yere ti korange tingdula ram namdo tande tadik shebasoma rambab ti tindo nyambran jo tuba tela nyambran jo batela tene zo tene tarduki gom stene telo ngönzingi yores tisonza gom seati mixege gom juji yene gomba yinati gomba mares akosonga gom ngoma gom de khanasna machu pa sem khorang nyungmenga lo lhubar shaba khayin bathe gomja gomje dan thawase de tissego yores lhubar shaba thela munege ta tarduki gom yang thawba theres tesonza indu ene chenda ge ngaranso penata 신의 요래 다가는 신기 신의 차라기 예와 망부 요래 텐데스네 곰들은 바 칸레 이엠바 텐도 창마 대다부게 되네 냠버샤 토베게 타밤 젠더 마스는 누구 요래마도 오네디 곰제도 잡아지레스 대손산 대다부지다 그 요래스.
So thus if one is able to rest in the nature of ordinary mind, or if one is able to rest in the nature of Tathagata Garbha, then without entertaining, suppressing, seeing the nature of thought. And if one is able to rest in that undistracted awareness, that is absolute or ultimate meditation. And which is to say, when we talk about meditation, essentially, when we say meditation, it's not because there is something to meditate upon, or in connection with the meaning of what meditation in Tibetan. Meditation meaning developing the habit of, or therefore getting used to, and not because there is something to get used to. Simply resting in the unconditioned nature of mind, which ceases, which is free from having to get used to or having to have the habit of.
This is kaya meba some rangbab shagwen is not tomen ro de mares. Kashi til sida sigdo.
Yes. And then one important warning or remark is, when we say that unconditioned nature of mind, effortless, spontaneous, then this does not at all mean just sort of being blank, like nothing going on. Because a number of people seem to speculate or imagine it as being, the experience being sort of blank.
Bena, nge taran labana shi dres. Sem tela keche sum sha so sha ya dres. Ngo dong ba, namba manga ba, ane zal na cho su choam sem korang rang ri rang sal. Ha ko so nga o ti sum ti tene sem korang gi ngone gi khase gore nelo am ranshin teres. Te son za yin de rangbab ke ting do sha se de kaya meba nak thomen ro ajila namya siga mares. Bana desal number medo be ishisin sem korang la yende sam gi me jab tindu yor bas. Bana tada se wa de ngo tong ba number salwa. 사실 릭바 어딘도 그거요. 되게 인도 남바 망가바 전에 코랑 랑리 랑살 셰바 랑리 랑살 샘 랑리 랑살 세야지 여러분 코랑 릭바세야 돼. 어디 손자 인도 전에 된도 가야 많이 받았어요 말했어.
So resting in the nature of thought or nature of one's mind does not by any means mean just sort of going blank. As we have talked about earlier, the essential nature of mind has we talked about the particular characteristic of the nature of mind, and the characteristics being emptiness and unobstructed, unceasing, unobstructed appearance. And self-awareness or self-luminosity. And so, because of self-awareness or self-luminosity, various the activity or the play of mind could take place. Because of the emptiness and nature of mind, limitless possibilities of unobstructed appearance, activity. And so, therefore, always when we talk about the quality of the characteristic of mind, we talk about how that the goodness or the uniqueness of the characteristic of the mind is inconceivable, beyond conceptualization. If the nature of mind is only limited to experiencing or seeing the nature of mind is limited to simply going blank, then there is nothing so inconceivable, so beyond conceptual about it.
빼나 알아서 단다 대양 착제 챔뷰기 단데 디값을 숭요 그래서 착제 챔뷰기 미주 런준도 지금 숭샤베 착제 챔뷰기 뭐남나라 숭요래 셴바 메베 대신 준체 메스 셴바 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 메발라 때네 셈 코랑 거데 되네 빼나 단다 파르돌라 셈 대화 챔뷰기 런신데 원도 줄마토 바다 가르세나 셴바라 때네 용고요래 셴바다 타와이나 대화 챔뷰디 런신기 준미체바 용고요데스 천진 메베 웨설 디비오터스 되네 단다 셈마른 짐발라 때네 근데 초비어 근데 삼바게 삼나 셈마른 짐바 요르바 델라 때네 당가란 속에 다 가서 그래 블록도 마스는 지기요래 셈만 짐바다 셈 코랑 ngode 셈마른 짐바 메발라 때네 되네 두다 나바 군돌라 셈 코랑게 베나 웨설 디비오터 셈 코랑게 랑싱게 웨설와 남바 망가바티 베나 셈 코랑라 베트 ngo 꽃스탄 줄이어 말 하고서가 되네 천재메베 롤렌데베 메도선 주축 되네 내 말에 삼백이 일을 제바지 여러봐 이시 잡았어요 메도선 주축 좀면염류 준체메바쇼 어 대답이게 메도바 넘버 메도바 쓰고 여러봐 롤렌데발 때네 내 말에 삼백이 롤렌데발 때네 메도바 순지도 어 대답이게 데설 넘버 메도베게 이시티 다섬 코랑게 네로디 뒤도 넘버 군도 준체메바 용고요 그래 섬 코라나 this
신바메베
대신 준체메 대화 챔버 되네 닝지 자은가 보면봐 천지메베 웨서드비오타 세먼즈바메베 웨서드비오타 되네 롤렌데베 메도 순주축 롤렌데베 사고 그러봐 제당도 뒤준도게 타말베 다 남도렌데베 메도 순주축 좀면염이 준체메베 좋다 섬 코랑게 모두 군에
롤렌데베 메도
순주축 메도파 라진
With regards to, again, nature of mind in the Mahamudra prayer by Rangjung Dorje, it is said, when one's mind is free of attachment, then great joy is limitless. Limitless great joy or limitless great
this is 닝지 챔뷰기 ngode 쓰게요 대화 챔버 세나요 닝지 챔버로 봐
great bliss is saying great compassion, great bodhicitta. And continuous great bodhicitta, unceasing great bodhicitta when there is no attachment. And when
this is your chance to test again laptan mandibda some tatanda some genelu tiege yorba some koran la shemba mebala tene some koran gitene koran la dewa chembuki dewa 닝지 chembuki zalde to the number gundu gaba meba yeba charwa
some koran some in some shimba mebal
oh some koran la shemba mebal tene tene some koran ti samaran zimba mebala tene some koran go ngod samaran zimba yo maraba tela tene tene 가서 그래 외설기 뉴코모 6차와
샘코는 그 ngomole shimba mebal tene
배나 단다 샘코란 게 배나 ng오찬 추가요 말아 봤다 단다 띵안도 시시해요 봐 샘코란 게 제단 샘코란 대섬에도 베냠데 샘코란 두는 나무 건도 여러 봐 단다 안도 될 샘마른 점바다 텐줄 때네 넘버 텐텐 소르투고요 말아 봐
Okay. The nature of little correction, please. Nature of mind is free of attachment, and therefore all-pervasive or great joy, great bodhicitta. The nature of mind is free from clinging to the notion of reality, notion of independent entity. And therefore, then in this way, the mind in itself is never obscured. The luminosity of the mind is never obscured. And the nature of mind itself is beyond conceptual reference point in the sense of this or that. And therefore, the nature of mind itself being free from conceptual reference point, then spontaneous play of non-conceptual mind. Yes, sir.
패스맨로. 텐데스레 테네 디인도 좀센 텔라 때네 대송자 테네 셈 코랑기 땡돌라. 是吧? 랑법 수쇼 시드 거투블라 소바 칸야 두발라 소바 칸야 고고요 마레섬 코란라 테네 베타비오기 연데 섬지미 제바 코란 예베스레스. 대송자 디 랑법 땡도 쇼스 텐데 송고요 다 도공에 세한다부터 조 닝분다부터 tene pena dawar shikbe ke ning bustang anzu shubu chi ne te pet ki de yore chi yore se yondu ta pet shu ji ki de yoba che ane ngone ke pena jik chegan do de ni ju mebe ji ngoma namdo wam sem khonan de los sha de los ju be ji chega china namya ni ju mebe ji yes te sonza te ten ta chwas na sha na
so resting in the nature of mind, beyond suppression, beyond entertaining, meaning this. The mind in itself is free of these conditionings. And so rest in that very nature of the mind. Free of conceptualization, free of attachment, free of clinging, as far as the nature of mind is concerned. In essence, the point that His Eminence would like to get across is, we have talked about how each and every one of us has Buddha nature, and this very, so we get some idea, this very special. And special the quality, potential, which each and every one of us have. And we also have talked about that even though we have this, we have no experience of it because we don't recognize our having such. So now, when we want to recognize, knowing that we have, and we want to recognize what we have, and then we could be viewing at it or looking at it in a inappropriate, in a wrong way, in that, in sort of what hidden spot, in what hidden corner. It's emphasized so much, this is something you must have. But in what sort of secret or hidden corner, somewhere inside you, do you have this? So if you are, therefore, trying to find or trying to look at Buddha nature outside of your mind, outside of your thought, then that Buddha nature you will never find.
제가 지나 안에 Buddha nature 티 시에바 되게 요런 로주샤네 유령 뭐 거라 코냐니가 요레스.
Buddha nature 시에바티.
다 대신ing 뭐 되게 뭐 시에는 요르도 산 예주샤네 되게 유령 뭐 거라 아닌가 요레스.
So again,
디트랑스야 다대 셰반데 코란에 로스 줄라.
If one is trying to look for a Buddha nature, recognize Buddha nature beyond the present thinking, beyond the present sense of being conscious, moment to moment being conscious, and moment to moment ability to think. And if one tries to look for Buddha nature beyond this present thinking, present experience of consciousness, then instead of expediting such an approach, instead of expediting the recognition or understanding of Buddha nature, it would certainly make the possibility of recognizing it even bringing further away, taking further away.
야, 다 좋았어.
Okay, questions, please.
그만둬.
In mentioning the nature of thought, am I correct in assuming that the nature of thought is such that it comes and goes, and that the obscuration is our clinging and dwelling and attaching and so forth? I'm asking if I'm clear as to the nature of thought in its natural movement of coming, appearing, disappearing in and of itself. Is that the nature of thought?
남도 야 샤르와 대단 남도 마
샤르니 예 양의 남도 양자 샤르 제베티 티니 남도 그런 신이 베스 다 탄다 어찌든 단도 근저 측지어 봐 대단 그런 수다 넘버 더 버싱이 봐 로그맨으로 간다 치나
야. 단다티 남도 야 샤르니 남도 파 예.
양 남도 야샤
야 남도 샤르 파 예, 남도 야 샤르 파 예 제야티 제 넘버 똑바레스 남도 천지 잠지레스 얘나양 대 근데 샘지네루 똑베게 잡았습니다. 말레스 하고서 근데 샤워다 남도 야 샤워다 티마트니 예바 잠지 하고 하지요 봐 티 남도 코랑 게 단단 안 하죠 넘버 똑바스도 넘버 메도 바스게 거 알아봐 안수 그 고주트라 남도 땡네 메도 니스 전장문으로 다 익송 봐 넘버 똑바티 땡네 넘버 메도 바 니스 알아봐 대송장 시대 남도 야 샤워다 남도 파 좋아 잠지 제당 남도 코랑 게다 친이다 버지래 이나에 때 넘버 메도 바 말레스 티 하고 잠지 넘버 메도 또 배차봐요 말레스
simply seeing thought arising, simply seeing thought disappearing. No, again, simply seeing thought arising is you.
남도 그런 신지를 신이 가서 그래.
You are aware of thought. No. You are aware of thought. Being aware of thought is not the same as experience of the nature of mind.
Number metoba.
Or as it is said by Jamgön Kontrül Lotte Tai
공기 단단 구르티나 땅 구르티나 요래.
in the collection of the songs of the Kagyu teachers, Kagyu gurus, out of thought, out of thought, realizing or finding non-thought.
대 송자인데 남도 샤르와던 초점 지기 메도고인 비켜봐요 말이 단도나
And out of thought, finding or seeing non-thought, meaning realizing the nature of thought. And so simply being aware of or seeing you have thought arising and your thought dissipating is not the same as experiencing the nature of mind or nature of thought.
We say that the appearance, all these appearances, is merely a projection of mind, and that the nature of these appearances is not different from the mind, the nature of the mind itself, which is emptiness nature. And yet, if we try and look at the nature of mind, we can't find any color, shape, location, and form. Is it possible to understand how all this color, shape, and form naturally or logically follows due to an emptiness nature, which when we look at itself has no color, shape, or form? Or do we just have to really accept that that's the way it is?
됐으니까 가서다
I'm sorry, I didn't get the color part very.
Is there any way to understand how all the color, shape, and form that we experience of the appearance logically or naturally follows from the emptiness nature of the mind? How that would be naturally or logically due to the emptiness nature of the mind? This emptiness nature itself has no color, shape, or form.
동반이 그 런신 더 샘게 런신 동반이 달래야 되네. 도트 되네 소드 입다 칸칸요 말이지. 다 치기 넘버 통치 되네 샘키든다
디테일스
그래서 이나야 샘 콜직다 가블 샘는 되는 입단 도트 칸칸요 말이지.
나 신테니 치기 넘버 텐야 되는 시통도 그러겠어요 치기 입다 가도
되는 치기 입단 되는 가도도 막 보통 되죠, 봐.
네
되는 런신 되는 칸소 샘 런신 되 동반이 막 티크 되는 칸소 그래 좀센 될때 봐. 레베스 샘 코나는 뭐월라트니 딱된 돈데다 입들이 쓰지 매나요, 봐. 이나 문행은 통 율능 능체 율라 되는 도 되는 입 망부여 봐. 되는 간대치는 능기어레세. 되는 다 동바 힘발 때는 티그 능기어레스. 좀 센다. 능고비 좀 센다. 다 탐지 셈는 되는 도도 입잖아 동발 때는.
디레스 단다티 제단게 단다 치기 율 넘버 나소스 나와데 샘 코랑기 근데 넘버 망가발 때 나와레스 대인도 카도다 넘버 나소 같은 나와 태양 되네 나와 점디 되네 디 넘버 될 때네 남겨요레스
답은 컨저 단다 티자 콜 쟁가 뜨되고 봐. 제가 좀 센티 되는 강의에서나 되네 다 미니는 편주 되네 네 미디난 와테 하게 되네 샘기 런시 체르와 공 미션바티 나 저스나 와테 펜은 거기 샘슬레 만데버치 그랬을 이나야 되네 한준이 간단한 다동 여 대반나 지어라 봐. 대도스 주도 되네 샘게 되는 로스 있는 되네 마도 단 뭔지 말아. 네.
가상에 담코면서
근데 미니 딱 내기 변한 찍 미션 따디고 봐.
그래
대도 되는 다 도시니 땅하기 마로게 샘 기타란시 내가 그 매선 받치셔나 봐. 퍼럽에 미대한 다운데 나 그런 샘 기란시를 만들어 매봐. 이나 니자 여대로 봐.
든데 가라고
나
되네.
독수도 다 유주여랑 독수 간데 잖아.
말에 맞다 코란 들랍다 간진 되기도. 다 단다스. 나도 다 간지 카도도 입다 카도라 넘버 치기 유를 넘버 나서서 나와데 셈게 나와 tel레전에 중앙에스. 하고서가 셈게 넘버 망가 발 때네 대 넘버 나서서 나가요. 지당의 치기 유를 나와 텐데 상마 될 때네 용고요레스. 셈게 짤 망가 발 때네 넘버 망가 발 때네 철게 요래 예나야 단당 안한소 철와 대당 되네 셈게 내루 또네 되네 나와 되니 됐으라고 말이에스. 배나 넘버 라고 말이에스. 단당 안한소가 남배게 나와 잠지게 차네 넘버 망가 발 때네 난게 요래 예나야 난술도 만다와래. 하고서가 대인도 박반 남지기 되네 배트 가서 오래 저 그랑게 배나 오래 레레신도 되네 소스로 똑배게 샤럽게 통연도 되네 만데바 싸워 양다고 세계 여러 가란스 찍나시 통고요. 그래서 대손자인도 되네 따자에게 대레든 대통을 고면념도 양다고 찍고요. 그래.
Yes, the appearance of phenomena, shapes, colors, whatever, is because of unobstructed and unceasing appearance of mind. Nature of mind, emptiness, and appearance unobstructed. And so therefore, there is the variety of appearance that the mind can perceive, that we can see or perceive. Appearance, unobstructed. Color, form, whatever, everything in the name of appearances. While it is because of the unobstructed nature of the appearance of mind, yet the way the appearance is perceived by those who are enlightened and by those who are not enlightened is not the same. Even though appearance is because of unobstructed nature of mind, yet perceiving, for instance, our awakened ones would perceive appearance from the point of view of discriminating awareness.
배나 다치단 게 차셔야 돼. 독스가란 주 지켜게 배나 밴다부터 티샤게요. 레스. 배나 다 샘지 나와인 베좀 센데 간데저레스나. 배나 다 추다버지 이나. 되는 가란 주 미게 추 지단 게 추지를 난 게요. 레스. 이다게 되는 나라게 jan투지를 통고요. 레스. 되는 하이게 추이나 겐데지를 통고요. 레스. 디 되네 축구란 게 차네 추직을 마도 통순 넘버 나서 보카요 말이스 얘나야 샘지 또번난 담면들 때네 연구요래 대인도 되네 배나 대봉원도 주르바다 마주 베바를 통순 넘버 땡데서요래스 되는 거란 속에
There is a tremendous difference between how enlightened ones and unenlightened beings perceive appearance. There's a tremendous difference. Even in a simpler case, because of, so when we say everything is but the projection of mind, there's nothing that is outside of projections of mind. In the case of, so because of the different mental outlook that one has, therefore one perceives from that point of view, and reality from that point. And so, so the Buddha had said, based on the all-seeing or all-knowing wisdom with regard to how sentient beings, how beings, a different psychological state or mental outlook perceive appearance. And the example is water. In the case of water, beings of different psychological states. So someone who is of the preta realm or of that deprived, distorted psychological state, when such a being through one's mind perceives the water, it is seen as pockets or accumulation of pus and mucus. And we see it as water as we see. And then beings of the Deva realm, or who have the psychological mental outlook, sees the same water that we see as having the characteristic of what is known as the 8 special characteristics of water, and that which we don't experience when we come into contact with water. And for them, water has all of these most healing, soothing, whatever characteristics. So that 3 different beings, different psychological. So which is which?
So 세상 들을 때는 탐지샘지 나와 있어 안에스다.
So from that point of view, everything is but projections of mind.
I guess my question is that in terms of the enlightened being, Buddha, he would still perceive shape, color, and form as you have. And if he perceives such shape, color, and form, how could that be if the emptiness nature itself has no shape, color, and form? How could that come?
대자단 티키랑에 단다 세바드레스. 띵에 키랑 고스. 티키랑에 단다 라바드레. 되네 배나 딱바르 시간 저 들라고요. 배나 산지 숭버레스. 배나 나랑 속에 난 솔라. 산지 좀 된데 그 추지 공부 제리 시동 숭, 추지 콜로를 뭐 숨도 걸. 되네 배나 제리 시동 숭네. 배나 땅 알아서 탐지게 냠슬랜데 야드레스. 얘나야 산지 코랑 그 숨버레 코랑 그 조그 산지 좀 된데 코랑 그 오차네. 홍게 추지 콜로 남이야 막을 송하레스. 대송도 되네 거저니다 타와라. 얘나야 심정 군지게 되네 캡달 나스도 심정 군지게 되는 산지게 추지 시론 나와 있음버레스. 대송자 마체뱅 알아서 능술라 소수지 능술 공부 추지 콜로 꼬라와레스. 꼬르베 마체 도지 도와란나스다 자구 풍부를 소베 꼬라. 얘나야 더 한번 꼬르메서 대송도 듣네도 카가레 요레스. 대송자 인도
생기는 동바에 있는 드는
다티 랍시다 되래. 대송자 인도 산지가 코랑 경어라 넘버 점지레 마도 나란 속에 단다 카도 까보 세브 마르보 세브 넘버 카가레스. 데두두슬라다.
Yes, as His Eminence was trying to explain, where sentient beings and enlightened beings perceive appearance is different. How enlightened beings perceive appearance, we cannot conceptualize. And Shakyamuni Buddha turned the various wheels of Dharma and taught the 84,000 accumulations of teachings. And so, as far as our perception goes, the Shakyamuni Buddha taught all of these teachings.
네다, 두다, 예발 송요는 봐.
And not only did the Buddha teach, we have a record of time and place
아니 콜.
and followers. At such and such time in Sarnath, the Buddha turned to the wheel of the Dharma to such and certain followers, and at the Vulture's Peak, and such time, and again turned to the wheel of the Dharma, and altogether this vast, immeasurable number of teachings. So, as far as our perception goes, yes, the Buddha had done those things, and this is what we are practicing. This is what we are learning. But as far as the Shakyamuni Buddha himself is concerned, he never taught. He never turned any of those wheel of the Dharma.
메디 숭버레스. 얘는 제만의 쓴지 군지 챕터 낭스.
Shakyamuni Buddha himself had said that he has never uttered anything but that it's pervaded in the perception of beings.
대손자인도 that's 말이야.
So pervaded in the perception of beings, and there is beyond the concept of teaching, teaching and to be taught, and yet the spontaneous manifestation of Buddha activity, and which is based on our very fixed conceptual thinking. It would be inappropriate to try to even form an idea of which is beyond our present conceptual, limited conceptual thinking.
다 대손자당 예천한 대삼질랍 두고도 아니 약슈드 캐나는 요구스탄 제버센테는 카도도 간도 통도 떠다야고요.
So this is the best His Eminence can tell you.
시그토네.
But what is better than that is try to attain enlightenment soon, so you would know, so you would be able to tell for yourself how you see the colors.
아니 믹스에게서 이제 이 고백은 찾아봐도 시스탄 연구래서. 선단이 믹스지 연구 여러 찾아봤다는 드디어 캐나 때다 하고 그래서.
The monastery here is soon supposed to have a painter, an artist coming, and who is going to do all kinds of, and so at that time you will see it again differently.
Yeah. Yes.
Eminence, you say that Buddha nature is resting in the nature, or to experience Buddha nature, one rests in the nature of the mind. Is that the same as Alaya, as in the Lojong slogan, resting in the nature of Alaya?
다 타르도를 찍버레스. 타르도를 찍버스네 되게 요레스. 반에 군시팅도라 냠버샤세야 쓰게 요라. 되게 요레스. 이나양
Majuri Beshil.
레 다가라데. 나주릭 베실 제세 다가라데스.
Yes, in essence, it's saying the same.
그나 맞춰 봤을 때 랑법성이 요라스.
Majuri Beshil just interbat.
베실.
And which is another way of saying experience the unconditioned nature of mind.
Yes.
This afternoon in my discussion, a question was posed as to whether people had an idea of what emptiness was and what luminosity was. It seemed that people could talk about, had an idea of what emptiness was,
Mm-hmm.
but people were completely blank on luminosity. And this morning you mentioned that the nature of mind is Dharmakaya, and its appearance is the luminosity of Dharmakaya. Could you explain a little more to us?
현재 emptiness 지금 같이 시작했다. 현재 emptiness 하고 지금 시작했다.
His Eminence would like to first know your understanding of emptiness. Based on your discussion.
걔랑도 수이 남는 데가스.
La.
걔랑도 수이네 저게.
Any one of you, please. If you would care to formulate how you
가르레스나
understand.
네 단데 걔랑도 써야 되레스. 가르레스나 뭐트베 빼나 동바당 드니 빼나 싸워던 동바티니 오늘 저는 야찬 마신 받아보지레스. 하고서 타르도 오늘 걔랑도 동바니 내로도 양다고 하 거예나 대 빼나 동바팅가 그런 게 남바데 싸워데 송주지 연구 그래마도 드네 디 타테 마신 받지레스. 대선다 인도 줌세텔 때는 같이 하는 동바 then sawa hamago be tongbaji then the contedos
Now, the point His Eminence is making by asking you this question is
차쟁게 동반이 있어도 뒤니 송주 거고요. 그래서 차쟁게 동반이 있어도 뒤니 송주지를 임부 차시하고요. 그래서 다 현재 찍 거직 마고 배 동반이죠, 여러분.
Generally, when we talk of emptiness, and so based what we mean by emptiness, generally when we talk of emptiness, and therefore, given that what is meant by emptiness is understood, so you have the understanding of what is meant by emptiness or the meaning of emptiness, then if one has properly understood the meaning of emptiness or what is emptiness, then you couldn't separate emptiness and luminosity. The emptiness and luminosity is not something that is that you can separate or that is there are spontaneously inseparable. And so His Eminence was then interested in your understanding of emptiness short of luminosity.
Yeah.
There was some discussion of the fact that we view things as a whole, and actually they're made up of parts, and these parts are interdependent upon one another. Someone in the group did mention that when they view emptiness, what they like to do is break it down and down and down into the smallest parts. And so that entity is no longer, say, the house, but you break it down into what makes up the house. But it seemed that in the group there was some feeling that you had said that just breaking down an object into its parts is really not what emptiness is. You mentioned that this morning. So what I feel we were doing is we were groping around with what you were teaching and could say some things, but we didn't come to a definite conclusion. But we realized that perhaps things are not as we objects are not what they appear to be. They are made up of many different things, and that these things, when they take form, the mind perceives because of feeling and form and thought to be a whole and a solid object. And because of this feeling of this solidity, we cling to it, and it causes our confusion. So perhaps that's what we were talking about.
칙 유기 때는 동바디 하고 순서로
단다
프랑스시라 대파 다지 저도 데데스 코파오티긴 도스다
단다 빼나 가서 그래 뭐부터도 반나 rim지가 마 차체네 되네 뭐면 때나 파비아티 제단게 치기 되네 나와한테 군접기 나와한테 되네 랑시마 두바 되네 때나 팝제기 반나 차견도 버지레 마도 디 코나게 동반이 디 네스 디 말바스 디 제단게 다 가서 그래고 제단게 치기 치 군접기 나와한테 지 가서 그래 랑시 두바 매바 안에 임바지기 줍제 잠제레만 때문에 동번이 되는 밤데 동번에 있으네 동번이 타도 그거네 동번이 또 말아봤어 하고서 오늘 그 동번이 그 내로도 가르스나 베나타 소den가라 샘러부지를 sem바이나 다징에 세와 테라레스 샘 코란 러부지를 sem바이나 다 단다 남도 러부지이나 남도 러부지 sem바이나 남도 코랑 독세 남도 샤르와타 텐텐 남도 코랑 그거 따온드 아니 남도 다 샤르와 잠지레 마도 남도 다진 샤르와데 데레 스체네 주셔 주지다 심셔 주지다 텔라 땡셔 주지 가야면도 와스 하고서가 데 코라나 동바세가 요레스 텔라 땡네 메 신도라 하고서가 메 신도라 이나야 디게 남도 그때 균 망가바 남도 디게 코랑게 단 디샤르슨 디샤 삼백이 균 망가바 지도 와스 텔라 땡네 디세가 요레스 luminosities da clarity sigma otis yoris 티 릭베 줍제 잠지를 봤어
나
티 제단기 치기 치노베기 또마 릭베 줍제 잠지를 마도 티게 문에게 난게 동문이 줍야 말아 봤어 치로를 대신 독제 잠지
examining objects and seeing that how they exist because of many components coming together, and then nothing existing independently, intrinsically on its own, nothing exists. And so that is an analytical approach which supports the understanding of emptiness, which is a means towards understanding emptiness, certainly. Yet, seeing that things exist only interdependently, do not exist independently, therefore things lack inherent or intrinsic true existence, support the understanding of emptiness, but thinking thereby that this is thereby the nature of things emptiness, or that is emptiness, is yet short of the understanding of emptiness, or certainly that understanding of emptiness is not going to benefit the experience of emptiness. So, in order to understand emptiness and be able to experience that, then you have to approach it from the point of view of mind. So, as we have talked about earlier, as you begin to sort of look at your mind or thoughts, there is a moment of arising of thought, some moment of arising of thought, thinking happens. And thinking of whatever thought, you can't grasp that thought. And you can't show that thought. You cannot grasp, you cannot show. And so, that is that you can't grasp, that you can't show emptiness. Emptiness, nature of mind. Emptiness, nature of thought. Thought, mind. And how in our sense of having mind comes from thought. And so thought is mind in that sense. So, yet, when thought arises again and again, and there is the possibility of awareness of thought.
Number mandeba sawar ton to bachi doans, sarsin rig bachi. Number mandeba sarsin rig bachi ton hakwas doans.
There is the clarity of awareness. And so that thought doesn't obstruct from being aware of thought or having the clarity of awareness of perceiving thoughts. So that is aspect, unobstructed, possibility of unobstructed arising of thought is what is referred to as luminosity.
Number mangaba tela. That tela shevre. Tene number mangaba tele sal natso strowa sida tene namdo number natso ba trowa tela. Mangaba chachi yorba. Mangaba ngo tongbala number mangaba chatela tene tisigi yores. Nda mangaba. Tene tela tene number natso strowa tela tene zal sigi yores. Zal natso strowa. Ta nda mangaba te pena ta kusumne shaba yina mangaba ti chatela natso strowa tisigi yor. Mangaba chardu rungwe ge nubachi yorba. Tela longus shagi yorba. Tene longu. Tene natso strowa tela tukus chani shagi yorba. Ta number natso strowa.
So emptiness, because of emptiness nature of mind, unobstructed appearance, unobstructed or unceasing, there is no obstruction. And because of unobstructed appearance, which is referred to as luminosity, clarity in that there is no obstruction from perceiving. Perceiving the activities of mind. So, explaining again the nature of mind in terms of the three kayas is emptiness, nature of mind is dharmakaya, so referred to. So, that the characteristic of mind which is emptiness. And because of emptiness nature, limitless possibility of arising, unobstructed arising. We're not talking about arisen. Possibility of unobstructed arising, that is Sambhogakaya. What is it? And the actual arising of a play of the variety of perceptions, because unobstructed, and possibility of arising, and so variety of arising, a phenomena happening, that is Nirmanakaya. So, from the point of view of the three kaya principles, then one would describe the nature of mind in that way.
Yeah, that tamadingo.
Okay,
Yes.
please, the last question.
I'd like His Eminence to address himself to, with my conditioned mind, I would still like to see some evidence of Buddha nature within my own mind.
Kongs sense hanuch. Kongs simte barjak tani bet misik tumte de tadon kolya tani deshin yebek tani jemsen des jona pensares.
대신 뭐 지금 좀 세대
Yebek des.
대신 뭐 예배기
저런
좀
텐데 여볼 때는 여러봐 텐데 여볼 때는 여러봐 생기지. 다 한다.
그래. 대신 뭐 예배기 좀세 등에 다 사회게 찌켜게 당하란서 좀세 숨창게 요래. 당보도 좀세 찍대 배나 르기 채널 루진 거다 상진님 뭐 젠스네 배나 추구 동반이 심지 탐지를 켜봤으네. 좀새 당부도 시작해요. 그래서 그래서 배나 다들 캐랑 개 배나 가이나 양 학원유백의 샘코랑 서시릭백의 시에바 암 추구지요. 바다 추고. 데 코랑 거 디케나라 요르바스. 하고서 데 여바 점지기 데 코랑 거디 장신 동바다 단다 시에트리 디손데 데 여바 텔라 학바지기 캐난 좀 생에 누세야 가야면도 샘이 여바 단다 캐나서 그래. 배나 샘코랑 거 추구로 봤어.
The fact that you have mind is the biggest evidence that you have Buddha nature. You see. And beyond your mind, nothing can be a bigger evidence. And the nature of mind, as we have talked about, whether you have recognized or not, the nature of mind is Dharmakaya, or all-pervasive Dharmakaya. When we say Dharmakaya pervades everything, which is to say, the nature of mind pervades everything.
제가 답변은 하나도 좀 숨쉬어요. 그래서 제단 기토네 세배는 추구 동반이지 심지 탐지를 켜봐다. 춘이 대신이라 예와매봐다. 근데 릭 산지 그 릭 심지 탐지를 켜비요 봐. 진짜네. 또 숨쉬어요. 당부도 되겠어.
So in the teachings, when talking about the characteristics, what are the characteristics that are evidence that one has Buddha nature? Firstly, because of fundamental emptiness nature of all things, therefore Dharmakaya pervades everything, and therefore wherever Dharmakaya pervades Buddha nature. And
춘이 대신이라 예와매봐. 상지를 심지가. 뭐를 차례 춘이 대신이라 예와매봐.
And in essence, between Buddhas and sentient beings, there is no difference in essence. So,
somebody 상지기 연대 텐수 전에 예롱 그르기요 봐. 그리가 안 감.
그래서 심진이는
심진라야 상지기 배나 연대 탐지기 배나 원도 주로에 연대 예되만 이겨 봐.
And thirdly, so second is, in essence, Buddhas and sentient beings have no difference. Which is saying only those who have, it's not, those who have attained enlightenment are not the only ones who are bound to become enlightened, and others bound to remain unenlightened. In essence, there being no difference. And then Buddha nature is inherent, or the that quality which brings one into the family of Buddhas, that is inherent in all beings.
In my own head, it's the attributes, the only attribute besides having a mind, and that I would attribute to possible Buddha nature, would be the search for the truth, appreciation of beauty. I mean, I know that there are all kinds of things in the mind, negative and positive. Essentially, what I'm looking for is a track. We keep going, well, this is Buddha nature and this is negative. And I'm asking for that. It's not just
Tani sim ti yeva tilada tani sim taliya tani migeve chot tani geve chot chen tani mangbo chen ya tindu tele menz da khorang grevale na da pena khorang sim yeva ki khangla tani dembale tani chik despa meba tani langwa yeva tani
정부 배나
직다
예봤잖아. 샘싱의 코란디 하나의 코란디 가라 하는 것도 시에 샘싱의 디 코란디 개와다 미개와 니가 가야
nas
이게 미개 니가 낸데
nas
This one's a team analyst. T year but them the actually not so that. The one it. Then I gave out the make out the land and draw window say at it. The cannon drum can land number. Give it see it and the regular
knowing or being able to recognize that one has mind is very important, because mind is certainly attributed with inconceivable, limitless qualities. So knowing that you have mind, acknowledging that. And secondly, wholesome and unwholesome, good habits or bad habits of mind, those are not mind. Mind is beyond. Mind is beyond this habit or that habit. So, as far as the nature of mind is concerned, so if you think of, based on what you're saying, and if your mind is this, mind is that, then while you have mind, you have no understanding of mind. Mind is, you have habits, but habit is not mind.
This is until the local
And so, in the teachings, often the habit of mind is referred to as sudden or immediate obscuration. Immediate obscuration means, based on the nature of mind, is some immediate obstacle. And it is not inherent to the mind. And as towards recognizing the nature of mind, free of habit, then, right now, based on whatever understanding one can begin to have of path, the conventional thinking, approaching the path, approaching depending or relying on the guidance of spiritual friends, approaching the path would be bringing one's mind or oneself on the track.